From WRAO News and the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, this is your coronavirus news brief for Wednesday, March 3rd. I'm David Crabtree. More shots are coming to North Carolina, and more people are now eligible to receive them. On Tuesday, Governor Cooper opened vaccination access to Group 3, which includes a long list of frontline essential workers. Hours later, President Biden announcing a rare partnership between two pharmaceutical competitors meant to boost the number of Johnson & Johnson doses. One, he says, will help vaccinate all American adults by the end of May. Triangle Pharmaceutical exec and former Glaxo Wellcome CEO Bob Ingram spoke with Deborah Morgan about the headlines and the race to vaccinate Americans.
As a pharmacy executive, let's start with the news President Biden made by announcing drug maker Merck would be stepping in to help with Johnson & Johnson's vaccine production, a step he says will aid in allowing every adult in the country to be vaccinated by the end of May. They're business rivals. You know the leaders of both of those companies. How can this collaboration work?
Well, Deborah, I do know both of these companies, and I worked at Merck before I had the privilege to join Glaxo. And this is a prime example of two great companies, not only great pharmaceutical companies, but great companies who always have, from their inception, Johnson & Johnson and Merck, put the patient first. And both Ken Frazier, the chairman and CEO at Merck, and Alex Gorsky, the chairman and CEO at J&J, embody the very best of business leadership. It didn't surprise me that they would agree to collaborate so that we can expedite the manufacture and delivery of the J&J vaccine, which, as everybody knows, is now the third vaccine that will be available to patients right away. And I certainly I'm proud, but I'm also extremely happy that more and more patients now will have access to this vaccine on a more rapid basis. And we can look forward, certainly, as the president said today, by the end of May, and who knows, maybe sooner, to having herd immunity and most of us returning to some normalcy. And I think it's a great day again for science, but it emphasizes that in the United States, we lead the world in biomedical research because we do collaborate. We collaborate from the academic centers like Duke, UNC, with medical schools working together with the federal government, NIH, and the private sector, vaccine manufacturers. And ironically, the local Merck facility in Trayburn is named after Maurice Hilleman, who was a giant in vaccine research. He discovered and developed with Merck the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, as well as a number of other vaccines. And Merck brings to the table real expertise in this area.
It is so exciting, and especially if North Carolina can play a role in this too.
Absolutely.
You and I have heard from people who may feel as though one vaccine is better than another. Does it matter which vaccine you take?
Deborah, I would encourage people to take the very first one available to them. Both Pfizer and Moderna, as you know, are mRNA technology based. The J&J vaccine is a different technology, adenovirus. The advantage of the J&J vaccine is it's a one-shot regimen, but all three are effective and safe. And the sooner people can get vaccinated, the sooner they're going to be able to see the people they care about the most, their friends, their families, and their neighbors.
Final question. It was this week, 1 year ago, when we had our first case reported in North Carolina. It's so hard to believe it's been a year. This week last year, when we had people lining up for masks, stock market going up and down, if someone had told you a year ago that there would be 3 vaccine options on the market right now, what would you have said?
I would have said doubtful, Deborah. And I think, again, it's a credit to Project Warp Speed, led by my former colleague and good friend, Dr. Moncef Slaoui, and all of the scientists, both in academia, at NIH, and again, the research-intensive private pharmaceutical industry collaborating and working together, that we're now at this point of tremendous progress. I couldn't be more proud.
I know you are so proud, and I said final question, but I actually have one more, because we are seeing people still hesitant to take the vaccine. Should people be worried about any of the 3 vaccines that are on the market right now?
Deborah, the Food and Drug Administration would never approve any medicine that didn't meet an adequate test of efficacy and safety and benefit versus risk. These vaccines are safe. There is a rare instance, as with any vaccine, that you can have a reaction. But when these are administered, you're told to wait there so that the medical professionals can gauge how, if you have a reaction, and they can deal with it right then. I would still encourage people to take these vaccines as soon as they are available.
Thanks for listening, and a little plug. You can listen to complete WRAO newscast in podcast form. Subscribe to WRAO News Daily wherever you listen to podcasts. We post 5 newscasts each weekday and 2 on the weekends. You'll get all the news, weather, and sports you would get on television, but in audio form. Just search WRAO News Daily. For the Coronavirus News Brief, I'm David Crabtree.